I'm going to give you a brief bio of my background and how I got into where I'm at these days. I have a 25-year background in publishing, primarily, and moved away from magazines and started doing online type stuff. As you probably know, magazines, it's a tough industry. So I started a website actually back in 2006 called Learn to Mac, and the whole idea was to help people learn how to use the Mac. Didn't prove to be then. I didn't know what I was doing. It was new. And I ended up getting a job over at Apple as a genius in 2007. Worked there for about 3 years. At that time, I came out with a couple of apps. That seemed to be working okay, and when you work at Apple, you cannot produce your own apps. So I decided to quit and see if I could make this on my own. I also started at a school helping the tech director there, teach the kids and the teachers. The goal was to teach the teachers how to use the computers. So basically my background in the last 8 to 9 years is really just helping people learn how to use their Macs. So what I did is I started doing these tutorials. I'm a member of Lynda, and I think lynda.com is a great resource, but most of the time they go over my head. I just needed to know the basics of how to build a website. I needed to know, how to install WordPress, and I didn't need to know all the intricacies of it. I needed to know the basics, and I thought there are a lot of people that are in the same boat as what I am. Also, with my experience at Apple, I saw the same thing. People would come in and they'd ask me the same questions on iPhone, and to me they were basic questions. But I know that to the end user, they're not shaking you at the photos. So I just saw this pattern of basic tutorials was a need out there. So then I just started to do tutorials on how to use. I think my first one was Tutor for Bento, which is their database, FileMaker's database, which is no longer available, unfortunately. It's a great database. But it just seemed like a lot of people caught on to that. I'm going to interrupt here. My wife is leaving. She has a lunch appointment, so she's going to walk in the camera here. She is my new assistant.
Hello. Hi.
There you go.
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
She's going to start helping me out. My wife had to step out, but she is now helping me full-time with this endeavor of doing these tutorials. So essentially, I started out with Tutor for Bento, and it just kind of caught on, and I got a lot of positive feedback from that, and decided that this is the way it has to go. Ironically, I started out with doing these apps. I know enough coding to be dangerous, but I have some guy in Russia write my Mac code, and some guy in China write my iOS code. They give it back to me, and I tweak it from that point on. So it's a global affair, even from the people that buy my tutorials. 50% of the tutorials are sold in the United States, but 50%, the other 50 are sold outside of the United States, which is really kind of fascinating. So anyway, now I'm doing these tutorials. So I have 2 websites now, or 2 different ways to get my tutorials. For the last 3-4 years, it's been Notebook Production, and that's still going to be around. That's if you wanted to download the tutorials from the App Store. The advantages of that is the tutorials are yours to keep, no subscription required. Once they're downloaded, there's no internet connection needed. But it has its disadvantages to where you can only view it on the one device. Apple does not allow me to make an app that can be played on the Mac and the iPad and the iPhone. So we have to develop 2 different apps, so one cannot play on the other. And the other disadvantage, if you just need one of my tutorials, it's fine. But I'm finding that a lot of people like to have more than one of my tutorials. And then it can get cost prohibitive if you want to keep getting my tutorials. So I decided to come up with a subscription site earlier this year. Something that I've been wanting to do for a while, but there have been reasons why I haven't. Cost prohibitive. I didn't have the staff now with Beth helping me. It just bandwidth charges were expensive, and my videos are pretty big. But that is all changing very fast, and hooked up with Vimeo, and now they're hosting my videos, so I don't have to worry about the bandwidth issues. I'm uploading at the highest resolution possible, and then I use WordPress for my website, so it seems to be working pretty good. So with the tutorials, notebooktutorials.com, it requires a subscription, but what you're going to be able to do is get every tutorial that is available on the site. And we're moving as fast as we can to move my current catalog over to that site. Right now we're running at about 1 tutorial a week. Vimeo has a bandwidth limit to where I can only upload 20 gigabytes a week. And ironically enough, that seems to be about the going rate for my tutorials, because we're trying to upload them at the highest resolution possible. So we're getting about 1 tutorial on there a week. So I'd say by the beginning of the year, we should have all of our tutorials on there, and the subscription includes access to all of those tutorials. I'm also going to be including new tutorials in that site. I'm going to start working on a tutorial on the iPad and iOS 8, and as soon as that is done, that'll be on the website. I will also submit it to Apple, and it'll be available separate as well. And another advantage of the website is you're going to get them sooner. As an example, with Mac Tutor for Wassink Yosemite, I submitted that to Apple 2 weeks ago. They didn't like that I had in there Tutor for Wassink Yosemite, learn about Mac OS 10.10. They didn't like that I had 10.10 in there, so I had to go and change the name, resubmit it, and then I had to wait another week for them to go on and approve it, which was just approved yesterday, a couple days ago. So Apple has its advantages. It's been great, but they also have the disadvantages with their review system and all that. So now I can, with this site, I can kind of get around that a little bit and put my tutorials up as soon as I want. And also, the goal is to put up smaller tutorials. I might have a tutorial just on Safari. I used to include that in the Yosemite tutorial, but there's just so much that Safari can do. It could be its own separate tutorial. So that's the goal, is to start incorporating smaller tutorials on some of these apps separate. And they'll all be included in the site. Also with the site, you can view them on any device. So if you want to watch a tutorial on your Mac, you can do that. If you want to watch it on Windows, you can do that. Watch it on your iPad, you can do that as well. And I have found a solution that keeps track of what tutorials you've watched and what lessons you've watched. So that then you know which ones you do not need to watch again. So it seems to be, like I say, it seems to be working out really well. I threw it together in about 3 months, had a few testers out there, and got some good feedback, and I'm making changes to it every once in a while, but it seems to be pretty good. My average, just if you want to know like a little bit of the specs, what makes me excited about it is the average length that someone is spending on the site is about 6 minutes, which tells me that they're actually watching the tutorials. The bounce rate is about 46%. Bounce rate, if you're not familiar, is when someone goes to a website and then they leave right away, they're bounced off. If you are in the 40% range, that's considered really good. My goal is to get it to at 40%, but it's about 47%, which means when someone finds a site, they're staying. So all these little metrics make me feel good about it, and like I say, with Beth helping me out, it's pretty exciting stuff for us. And we've gotten, like I say, some very positive feedback. So we're excited about that. So essentially, I have Noteboom Productions, and then I have Noteboom Tutorials. Noteboom Productions is where you can get the tutorials separately. NoteboomTutorials.com is where you can subscribe to the site. We do have a coupon code to where you can subscribe to the site and get 50% off. And the whole idea of this 50% off is, I'm calling it like an early bird discount. It was going to end at the end of the month, but I'm going to extend it out a little bit longer to the middle of November. And the idea behind it is you get 50% off, but it's not 50% off of the first charge. It's 50% off as long as you are a member of the site. So normally, I have it set for $59 annual rate. If you use the coupon code, which I have to look, I can't quite remember what it is, use a coupon code, you are going to get 50% off as long as you're a member. So if you go and if it goes and renews, it's going to be at that 50% off. So if you're a member for 2 years, you basically have 50% off for 2 years. I decided to do that as opposed to 50% off and then next year all of a sudden you get a charge that's twice as much. I really want to leave, I really want to be open with this, and I want to make it easy for people to cancel. And all I'm trying to do is just really help people and not trying to make things difficult. So let me look.
Dan,
Up.
the code is early bird 50.
Okay.
Okay.
George,
So I knew I couldn't quite remember what it was. Yeah.
I tried to get in and put it in. I didn't see a place to put it in when I signed up, so, for what it's
Can
worth.
you show us how to, one of our members just asked a question, he couldn't see where to put it in.
Yeah. Yep. Can absolutely do that.
I guess we'll have to share our screen.
Oh, don't do it just for me. I did sign up, it just didn't.
Don't worry about it.
All right.
Yeah, he's waiting.
Dan, you waiting on me to do something?
Yeah, wait yet, so it won't let me share the screen. I'm going to try it here. Screen. I don't do FaceTime that often.
Maybe you want a tutorial on FaceTime.
I think so, for me. All right, so this is the site here. And if we go up to the top here where we have tutorials, you're going to see it right up in this area here. This is where all the tutorials are listed. And like I say, we're going to be adding about, we're trying to add about one a week. Every once in a while we can get slip into, but it's all bandwidth if we run into an issue. If you want to become a member, you click on Become a Member. And we have 3 different memberships here. We have a monthly subscription for $8 per month, an annual subscription for $59 a year, which comes out to about less than $5 a month. And then we also have a quarterly subscription, which is billed quarterly at $19. So you're looking at about $7.
Can we make that?
7-day free trial,
Can you
no
make
questions
it
asked.
bigger?
Your
Can see it from
your
back
card will
here?
not be charged until that 7 days is done. So you can try it out, and if you don't like it, you can cancel. And once you cancel, like I say, your card will not be charged. Once you decide which one, let's say we're going to go with the.
Dan, hold on a second. What was your question?
Can you make it a little bigger on screen?
I don't think
You
so.
can barely see it.
I think it's on his end. Can you make it any bigger?
I'm going to make it full screen.
Thank you.
It's about
No, I didn't really make it much bigger.
What's the webpage, noteboom.com?
No-boom tutorials.
What is it called?
Noteboom, all one word, N-O-T-E-B-O-O-M.
Tutorial.
Actually, my wife's maiden name. Resolution of the screen. We'll see if that helps.
You can't do any zooming at your end.
Doesn't appear.
Is that better?
No.
Well, it is better.
No, it actually is a little better.
George can show us the webpage later.
Yeah, I'll send you, as a matter of fact, I've
Does that
sent you
help
all
out?
the information. I've sent all the information to everybody.
Nikki Keller, maybe you could ask him to later on do some screenshots and send them to you. You can send them out to the people who are having difficulty.
Dan, can you send us some screenshots at some point?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe I'll throw something together, just a little tutorial on it, a video, so,
Okay.
for a tutorial.
All right.
Any spaces in early bird 50?
No.
Thanks.
So what you'll do, oops, hold on here a minute. Keeps going into mobile mode, so let me try it on Safari. When you go and choose a plan, after you choose a plan where you put in your credit card, so I'm going to go to become a member. Hopefully you can see it here. Become a member. And let's just choose the annual plan. You can choose any one of them. The coupon code works with any one of the plans. Click on subscribe today at the very bottom. And this is where we enter in the information. And down at the bottom, we have coupons. This is where we put in the coupon code.
Yeah, so it's right at the bottom of where you put it.
That will tell the system to charge your card 50% less. And it won't be charged until after the 7-day trial. Now I'm going to log in and show you how this works. So now I'm logged in. What we have here is we have the tutorials that I'm enrolled in. These are the tutorials that I'm currently taking. There we go. Yeah, you can actually go on and zoom in. So, and now it's in mobile mode right now, so it thinks that it's on a thing, but you'll be able to see it better. So we have enrolled tutorials here. So these are the tutorials that I'm currently enrolled in. And then we also have completed tutorials. Any tutorial that I complete will show up there. If you want to go and enroll in a tutorial, what we do is we go to, I'm going to go to my tutorials here. And let's say I wanted to enroll in tutor for, let's see, I know Final Cut Pro. I don't think I'm enrolled in that one yet. All I have to do is just say, start taking this tutorial. I've had a few questions to where does it charge me after, again, if I go and start taking this tutorial? It does not. Everything is included in the site. I changed some of the verbiage on the site to try to clarify that. The only reason why you have to start taking this tutorial is so the system knows which one you're on. That's the only reason why you have to start taking this tutorial. It's not charge the card again for any of the tutorials. Everything is included in the site, all tutorials. Once you start taking the tutorial, what you can do is you can start taking any one of the lessons that are located down here. And when you take the lesson, you view it, and you complete the lesson, the system knows that you've completed it, and then you can go on to the next one. So I tried to make it pretty simple how it all works. At any time, if you want to see what your account information is, or when your account is going to renew, or even if you want to cancel, again, try to make it easy. All we do is go to My Account, and this is where all the account information is. You can see I named it after my cat, Pepper. How long I've been a member. I did set it up to cancel, so this one's going to cancel. If I didn't set it up to cancel, there would be a cancel button here. And all I have to do is just cancel it. And then when your membership is up for renewal, it will no longer charge your card, and then your account will be canceled. So again, try to make it easy for people. I don't want to, I don't like the sites that you go in and then you got to make a phone call to cancel, or they make it difficult to cancel. To me, if people are canceling, that tells me that I have to do something better with my site. So that's going to be my gauge, is how many people are engaged in the site and things like that. To me, that's more of a test than trying to keep people in by making it difficult to cancel. So if we wanted to go and view one of my tutorials here that I'm enrolled in, I go to my tutorials. And let's go to iPhoto here. You can see that it is in progress here. And then, these are all the lessons that are involved in the tutorial. And any lesson that I've taken is going to have this dot filled out. So if I wanted to learn how to trim video clips, I go and view the video, I complete the lesson, and now when I go back, go down here towards the bottom, we can see we have a green check mark. So that's how we can tell which tutorials we've completed and which ones we haven't. We have in here which was
Dan, we have a question.
yes.
If you get the subscription service, do you have to be online to watch the videos?
You do have to be online. We are looking at ways that you can download the videos, but I haven't seen anything that really works that's easy yet. So that may be something in the future, but as of right now, it's safe to say the only way that you can view the tutorials is if you're online. Yep. The problem with downloading it is the Mac, and then you want to go and view it, and you have to re-download it.
We have one more question, Dan.
And my question is, can you repeat the tutorial? If you checked it off as having seen it, can you still repeat it as many times as you wish?
Can you repeat that again?
Can you repeat the tutorial?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If I go, let's go to and now I want to go and view it again. I can go and click on that. Let's scroll down to the bottom here. Hopefully no one, let's see here. Where'd it go? There it is. And I can go and take it. Of course, I got an error here. Yeah, you can go and go.
The answer is yes.
If you go to my tutorials, this is all the tutorials that you've taken or are currently taking. You're going to see that you have completed tutorials. This is where any tutorials that you've completed are going to be located, and what you can do is you can go and click on that and retake the tutorial. We also have a remove tutorial. If you no longer want to take the tutorial, you can remove it from my tutorials. You're not removing it from the site. You can go and retake it again. All you're doing is just removing it from your enrolled tutorial. Let's say if you were taking, like I'm taking a lot of tutorials here because I'm testing it out. If I wanted to remove one of these, let's say remove tutor for iMovie, I just remove and it removes it from that list. But I can go and take it at any time. Again, it doesn't remove it from the site. You can view it as many times as you want. All it does is just keep your list a little bit cleaner. So now my list is not as long. So yes, you can take any one of the courses, any one of the lessons over and over again. No problem. But you do have to be, I do have to throw in here, you do have to be online, and you do have to be a member to do that. If you're not a member or you're not online, you're not.
Okay.
So that's the basics of how the site works. And I'll throw something together explaining all this. I thought about doing that a couple of weeks ago, and then it slipped out of my mind, but I'll throw something together to show how this all works. I think that would be good. But I tried to make it as simple as possible. Yeah, just try to keep it simple. That's what I try to do.
We have
Hopefully
another,
that makes sense.
Dan, we have another question.
Is the Yosemite tutorial available on a purchase with the club discount without the subscription?
Through the App Store. It's not available yet.
Which one is that?
Yosemite.
Yosemite is available on the App Store as of Thursday night. I have an email going out today at 1 o'clock announcing it, but yeah. App Store and the site are completely different. Apple does not allow the time, at least from what I can see, allow any time between the two. So what I did is, if anyone, for the people that have subscribed to the Mac app, now you guys got a 50% discount, but for people that have bought a Mac app, there's a button where you can subscribe to the email list. I immediately shoot back an email to them saying they can get $10 off an annual subscription. So basically, they can get their money back for buying that tutorial for $10 or whatever it is. That's the highest price of that tutorial. So try to alleviate the pain, because I don't want them to think, oh, I just bought this tutorial and now they're trying to get more money out of me. You get $10 off if you like it, and you like more, and you want more of my tutorials. You can go and get all of the tutorials, and it's virtually like getting that Mac app. I can't tie the two together. It's two completely separate stores. So unfortunately, it's the only way that I can think of to reward people, or let them know that there is another way to get the tutorials.
I don't see it on an App Store search.
Well, no, you're not gonna find it
Any
yet.
other questions?
One of our members said he can't find it yet. You said it won't be available until tomorrow.
No, it should be in there. Let me look.
He's
I'm
currently
looking
looking.
at Tutor for Yosemite.
Yeah.
I
Here
don't
for OS 10 Yosemite.
OS
Or if you search for Noteboom.
Okay.
Noteboom Productions. Yeah, it's in there with Noteboom.
Yeah, he just got it. It's in there.
Okay.
That's the problem with not to complain about Apple. They're providing me with a living. I can't. They try to make things easy. Their search and all that is it's not Google. You search for tutor for Yosemite, you think that my stuff would come up, but sometimes it doesn't. You have to search for tutor for OS 10 Yosemite. And as I mentioned this to George, as more and more apps are becoming available, it makes it a little bit more difficult for our apps to be discovered. And there's this growing trend among smaller developers such as myself, where they're looking at other avenues. And even, unfortunately, a few apps are even leaving the App Store because Apple's not necessarily making it easy. So it seems to be a little bit of a trend. Another reason why I opened up the subscription site. They don't, like I say, if you search for tutor for Yosemite, there's a good chance that it might not come up. I'm going to search for that and see.
Under Tutor for OS 10, I see iMovie, Mavericks, and Mountain Lion.
And hopefully Apple will learn from this. And it did show up. It wasn't showing up yesterday. Did he find it?
No.
No.
iMovie, Mavericks, Mountain Lion.
Are you on the iPad or the iPhone?
I'm on the iPad App Store.
It's not available on the iPad yet.
Oh, it's not on the iPad. It's only available on the Mac App Store.
It will be available on the iPad sometime in November.
See, that's the other reason that he developed this subscription service, because Jerry and I were making him crazy because we want to be able to watch the tutorial on our iPad and then utilize it on the Mac and vice versa. And so he was making two different apps, but because of the App Store, the rules, he has to charge individually for each one.
Yep.
Now they're on the site, and that problem is eliminated.
Yep. And to review the review process for the iOS, for the iPad, and the iPhone store, you're running at about 2 weeks for that, just because there are so many apps in there. So, I can submit it, and then Apple will look at it, and I get a 50-50. Sometimes they approve it, and 50% of the chance they don't approve it. So then I have to wait another 2 weeks because I have to go and make a change, and so it could be a month. I'm going to try to. I'm hoping that it's going to be up in November on the iPhone, but I can't guarantee it only because of how Apple works. It could be. I've had tutorials take up to 6 weeks before they show up, even though they were ready to go 6 weeks ago, just because of their policies and the review process. The review process with Apple is, if you were to Google, you're going to find that it's not well liked by a lot of the developers. Intention, great, but they're not very consistent. With if I get one reviewer, he'll let my or she'll let my app go through. Then same exact app, just different content. They'll flag it for something else, and I have to go and resubmit it and make a change to it. Or what did I have with the battery management on the iPhone? I wanted to talk about force quitting apps. They didn't allow me to talk about that, so I had to go and re-edit that video, take that out of there. I was recommending that maybe you want to force quit the apps. Apple didn't like that. So they go through the content of it and make sure that everything that I'm talking about is valid. But I can't kind of stray away from their message. So with the tutorial, hopefully I'll be able to do that a little bit more. Get more of my opinion, my experience, I should say, with how things work. I won't be under their all-knowing eye, if you want to say that.
Okay, can we go ahead and
Any other
start
questions?
with, can we go ahead and start with the rest of the meeting? Oh, wait a minute, 1 second. Wait a second, please. We have one more question.
I have iPhoto 11 that I bought at the Apple store, and it keeps crashing on my iPad. Now, I just looked in there, and it's not listed anymore as an app.
iPhoto on the iPad.
Yeah, it's iPhoto 11 tutorial on the iPad. No longer works.
One of my tutorials?
Yes. Tutor for iPhoto 11, is that you?
Yes.
That is me.
Okay.
Yep. I think I came out with a new one too for iPhoto. The question is that if that's all on?
iPhoto 11, on the Mac.
Right. Well, iPhoto 11 and iPhoto 13 are virtually the same. They basically changed the look of the interface a little bit, but other than that, it's the same. Hardly any between iPhoto 11 and iPhoto 13.
Do I need to
If someone were to look at it, it's the exact same.
So, find the service.
Are you using an older operating system?
No, this is the new one.
You still have because you should be able to get iPhoto 13 for free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would go to the Mac App Store and look at iPhoto. Since you already have iPhoto, you'll be able to upgrade for free to iPhoto 13.
Okay.
They shouldn't charge you for that. If not, let George know, and he can email me or just submit something on my site and I can look into it a little bit. But you should be able to get iPhoto 13 for free. It's a free update. Now, they are on iPhoto and Aperture, for any Aperture users out there, Apple is discontinuing those two products. They're coming out with a new Photos app. That's what they're doing. They're on their last leg. I don't know anything about the Photos app yet. They haven't released a beta or anything like that, but I can tell you as soon as it comes out, I'll be having a tutorial on it because I'm curious about how it's all going to work as well. But the idea with that is you take a photo on your iPhone or your iPad and it will automatically show up on your Mac. It should, I think it organizes them by moment and different things like that. Very curious to see how that is. But back to your question, you should be able to upload to 13, no problem.
Okay, we have another question. Mitch?
If you've registered for the subscription online, will you get an email every time there's a new tutorial available?
Yep. I have a separate mailing list for members, and whenever I release a new tutorial, I just send out a members-only email saying, new tutorial on the site.
Perfect.
One more question, Natalie.
If you're working on a project and you've watched the tutorial and you have a question, now I had this happen and I had to look to try to find if there was a way that I could email them to get a response back. In other words, I didn't have to go on the website to just put the question out there on Google. But is there a way to email them?
Did you hear that?
Is there a way to email who?
Is there a way to email a question? If she has a question about something on the tutorial on the website?
Yes, if you go to contact us here, all the emails go to Beth or myself, my wife or myself, and here you're going to see suggestions and feedback, so if you have any suggestions or feedback. Membership support, so if you have a question on one of the tutorials, you can go put in your name, your email, and then your question that you have.
Thank you.
And like I say, it goes to Beth and myself, and we try to respond as soon as we can. We're trying to keep everything under 24 hours. That's our goal. Sometimes we miss that, but that's what our goal is try to keep it under 24 hours. So hopefully we can get back to you. Most of the time, it's a lot sooner. Because we have up to our iPad, so whenever we get a question, it's something that we can quickly answer. So just go.
I would assume that you will have to sleep at alternate times, so you can keep on top of it.
You know, the funny thing is I get a lot of emails, and I'm happy about that. I thought we would get a lot of if they're working or people aren't having any issues, or but yeah, we don't, probably get it's not that many in the big scheme of things. And most people are happy to respond within a few hours, and they're like, wow, that was really fast. So there must be an expectation where people don't get emails back. So we try. But yeah, if we're sleeping, we're on Eastern Standard Time, such as you. So if you email us at 3 in the morning, you might not get a response.
Yeah.
We'll try it. We'll try it. We'll try it. Okay, can we go ahead with the new operating system?
Yeah, I'm just going to show you a few tips that I like about it, or that I've learned about it. So, let me get pretty good. All right. So you can see my screen here, correct?
No.
Can't you just talk about it instead of showing? We can't see it.
No, we really can't see it.
Ah, bummer. Yeah, I'll try to
George?
talk more than.
See, we're looking at 4 different screens.
That's what I wanted.
Oh, you are looking at all of my screens, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah. All right. Be patient here. To disconnect.
Well, wait, he's gonna do something.
All right. I'm going to disconnect my screens here. Hopefully I won't screw anything up. Now my micro.
Oh, that was good.
You only have one screen?
No, your sound is better now.
Oh wow, that's in my computer.
Now you got to make that one screen bigger.
As big as it'll go.
I only have one screen.
Right.
It's my MacBook Pro.
Try control 2 fingers on your
It's
control 2 fingers, see what
How about that?
Control?
Swipe two fingers.
How's that?
Nope.
No.
Oh,
Well, it was bigger. It was bigger.
Are we good?
It was bigger, now it's smaller. Make it,
Okay.
you had it bigger.
How's that?
Keep going, keep going,
All right.
keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
Good. That's all I can do. So, but it's good now. You can.
No.
Just start talking.
George, can you shut that one in the corner off?
What?
Can you shut one in the corner off?
No, because that'll disconnect. That'll disconnect.
Oh.
All right, Dan.
All right. So one of the things that they changed in Yosemite, which I'm adjusting to, is how you put an app in full screen mode. You used to go in the upper right-hand corner of the menu bar here, and you click on the little two arrows, and it would put into full screen mode. It is now over on the left side, and you click on the green arrow. Okay, that works fine. But sometimes what I want to do is I want to work with an app where it's as big as possible, but I don't want to open it up in full screen mode, which is what the green button used to do in Mavericks. When you click on the green button, it didn't put it into full screen mode, it just maximized the window.
Right.
So now, let's say I'm in Google Chrome here, or I'm in Safari here, and I want to maximize the size of this window, but I don't want to open it up in full screen mode. This is something that I use quite a bit when I do my when I work with ScreenFlow, which is how I record my stuff. I don't necessarily want to open it up in full screen mode. So now what I do, you probably won't be able to see it, but if we look at the green dot, it has two diagonal arrows when I move my cursor over, which means it's going to open up in full screen mode. When I hold down the Option key on my keyboard, it turns into the old plus from Mavericks. And now, when I click on it, it's not going to open up in full screen mode, but it is going to maximize the window. Click on it again, holding down the Option key, and if we look at the bottom of the window, you're going to see that it's going to shrink a little bit. So if you want to open up a window or an app to maximize the screen but not in full screen mode, you can use the Option key to do that, and it'll maximize the window. It's a little trick that I use a lot. I love full screen mode, but not on every window that I'm working on. Sometimes I like to have multiple windows open and I'm going back and forth. As you saw when you were looking apparently at all my screens, I have a lot of stuff that is going on. And I'm constantly moving stuff back and forth. So just hold down the Option key and it brings the green button back to its old behavior in Yosemite. A little trick that I found out there. Another one, I got to pull up my notes here. The update, to update your Mac, it's a little bit misleading. It's all done through the Mac App Store, both for your apps that you bought through the Mac App Store and for the operating system. And what I'd say about it's a little misleading. If we go over to my system preferences, I'm going to open up my system preferences. And then, let's close Safari here so you can see a little bit better. If we go to App Store, this is where I say it's a little misleading. I wish they would have called this App Updates or something, not App Store. Because this is where we set up how our Mac is going to be updated. I guess it is through the Mac App Store, so that's why they call it that. But anyway, Mac App. The first thing is that I have a check to automatically check for updates. So it's automatically going to check for any updates. The next option here is download newly available updates in the background. So I have this check. So now what it's going to do is it's going to download any update that it needs. But it is not going to install them. It's only going to notify you. So this is how you can have it set to download the update, but then it notifies me when it's going to update, which is what I like. I don't like to have my apps automatically update, only because I like to see what is new in them. So now what I can do is I can go and see what is new with them in the App Store and then apply the update. But it does download it in the background. I can have it automatically install app updates without notifying me if I check this. I do have it, let's close this here. I do have it automatically install OS 10 updates. So if there's an OS 10 update, it will automatically install it. I also have it install system data files and security updates. So if you don't want to have it update your apps from the App Store, and you don't want to have it update your operating system, Yosemite, you can still have it update any data files and security updates. And that is this last option here. So it all depends on how you want to have your update policy or how you want to have your computers updated. This is where we go and set it up. And then another option here, we have automatically download apps purchased on other Macs. If you use the same account on multiple Macs, so I have 2 MacBook Pros. My wife has one, I have one, and then we also have an iMac. They're all tied in with the same Mac or the same App Store account, which means I download the app on my Mac, on my MacBook Pro. Beth can also download that if she wants to. Now what she can do is if she were to check this, what would happen is the app would automatically download as soon as I purchase it. If I purchase it on my MacBook Pro, it will automatically download it on Beth's MacBook Pro. She has to check this on her computer. Same thing with my iMac. If I had this checked on my MacBook Pro, I download an app on my iMac, it's going to automatically download on this computer. That's the one nice thing about the Mac App Store and the apps. I shouldn't say one nice, there's many nice things about the App Store. But it's really nice that you can install these apps on multiple Macs relatively easy. You don't have to enter in a code or anything like that. You just download it. As long as you're using the same account, you can go and download it to your other Macs. But this is where we go and set up how we want our Macs to update.
Dan, we have a question.
Go for it.
If you put automatic app updates, does iPhoto and iTunes, do they count as apps?
They will automatically update it if you check install app updates, yes.
Thank you. Second question.
Wait.
What,
Go ahead.
you're talking about accounts and updating and all that. Isn't the new iOS 8 or the new Mac thing, aren't you supposed to be able to, if you and your wife did not have the same Apple ID that you purchased things, aren't you supposed to be able to combine? And if so, how do we do that?
I don't know if you can combine 2 different Mac apps, Mac app accounts. But what you're talking about there is family sharing.
Right.
And the way that family sharing works, I'm going to go and look at all my preferences here. And if we go to iCloud, because it's part of iCloud, we go to Manage Family. And from here, what I can do is I can have, the problem that you had in the past was if you couldn't share photos easily, you had to do it through streaming, it was a little bit cumbersome. So basically what family sharing allows you to do is Beth and I, we can share photos, we have a shared calendar, a family shared calendar, we have a shared reminders list, and it's all done through this family sharing. And then on top of that, what you can do is the organizer, I'm the organizer of this family sharing. You got to have one person that is the organizer. You're going to see that we have share my purchases. So now, anything that Beth buys, she's going to buy through my account. In the past, what you had to do was go to the App Store, and then you go to Store, and then under the account, you could set up the App Store under the same account. So it's hopefully I'm not confusing anyone, but the way it worked in the past is you had your iCloud, and then you had your App Store. So I'll pick on my sister. She has 4 children. So she would have one iCloud account for her, one iCloud account for her husband, one iCloud account for her teenager son, but they would all be tied in to the one App Store account. Now, it's a little bit easier to manage. You still get the same result. Now what she can do is she can add her son to her family, her husband to her family, and then say she is the primary account holder. So anything that they purchase, iCloud takes care of it automatically. You don't have to go into the store and enter in a separate account for purchasing apps. Does that make sense? The same result, they just made it a lot easier.
Thank you.
But in addition to sharing, yeah?
Are you there? Dan?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we're all, Don's all set.
Thanks.
Okay.
Oh, we have another question.
George, to that same question of family sharing, can Kindle be put on family sharing?
Kindle cannot. Separate, completely separate with Amazon, unfortunately. It only works, family sharing only works with iCloud accounts.
Okay.
Okay, Dan, go ahead.
So that was actually something I was going to cover, was the family sharing. So yeah, that's the idea behind family sharing. And now, if I go to, I'm going to open up my reminders here. This is what's nice about the family sharing, is I have here, I don't know if you can see, hopefully you can see, I have a family reminders list. So now if I'm going to the store, or if I know that Beth is going to the store, I can add something to this list, and it will be added automatically to her iPhone, so she can look to see what's on that list. We also have a shared calendar. You're going to see I have a lot on my calendar here, but one of them is family. So anything that we're sharing, she puts in the family, or I put in the family, and it shows up on both of our calendars. And that's all part of that family sharing. So in addition to making it easier to share a purchasing account, it also adds other elements to it. And it's really easy to set up. I'm back in my iCloud here, and if I wanted to go and add a new person, I click on the plus here, and all I have to do is just enter in their email address, their iCloud email address, and I can invite them, and then basically they are going to get my family calendar, they're going to get my family reminders, they're going to be able to purchase apps using my account. And all I have to do is just enter in their email address here. If they don't have an iCloud account, I can click on Create an Apple ID. Now, when you click on Create an Apple ID for a child, it adds parental control. So you basically, they're not going to be able to purchase something without your approval. So that's the family sharing. It greatly simplified. I had friends that would have the same iCloud account because they wanted to share photos. Now they no longer have to do that. They can have their own iCloud account, but the photos are going to be shared. Makes it really nice. So that's family sharing. Another thing that as I'm getting older, I'm finding, sometimes I'm fighting the need for readers, fighting it, but it's coming soon. I can feel it. But anyway, what I can do is I can reduce the transparency. You're going to see that the Yosemite added a lot of transparency. So what I can do is I can go to my system preferences, and then if we go to accessibility here, we have some options here. Reduce transparency. When I reduce the transparency, hopefully you can see the dock. If we look at the dock in the lower right-hand corner here, we can see the rocks, Yosemite behind it. I'm going to click on Reduce Transparency here. We can see the dock. If we're in, I'm going to open up a Finder window here. We look at the side here, this gray, where all my sidebars are, all the favorite folders and such. nice and gray here. Watch what happens when I click on Reduce Transparency. I'm going to turn transparency back on. Now we can see Yosemite in the background. So if you like the look of the older Mavericks, you can go and reduce transparency and it'll increase the contrast, which is another nice thing about Yosemite or with accessibility is we have increased contrast. I click on increased contrast here, and now we can see lines around our different buttons. Makes it a little bit easier to see. Turn it back on. Now it's a little bit more soft. So those are two ways that you can increase the contrast or make things a little bit easier to see. We also have cursor size. I probably should have turned this up larger. I'll leave it up large so when I'm pointing at something, we can see what I'm pointing at. But we can also increase the cursor size there. Go ahead and close this. So that's how we can increase the transparency or the contrast. We also have Today View in the Notification Center. I've actually found myself using this more than I thought I would. If I go to my Notification Center, in the upper right-hand corner, we have our Notification Center. Now, I have it on Do Not Disturb right now, that's why it's grayed out. But when you look at it here, we have Today. And in Today, we have the weather, my calendar, stock, the different weather, calculator, world clock. But if we go down to the bottom here, we have Edit. And when I click on Edit, what I can do is I can go and add different items to my Today here. Now this is on an app per app basis, so I don't have any apps that take advantage of it. But what I can do, or you're going to see more often than not, and this is already prevalent in iOS 8. iOS 8 has the same options. What I can do is I can go and add different items to that Today. So on my iPhone, I have my OmniFocus. OmniFocus is how I keep my videos, my to-do list all arranged. It's showing up in my Today. I also have Dark Sky, one of my favorite weather apps. It tells me when it's going to rain and how long it's going to rain, and it's what I call hyper-local, which means it's not going to tell me when it's going to rain in Holland. It's going to tell me when it's going to rain on Washington Avenue, which is where I live. But on my iPhone, I added it to my day, and all I have to do is just scroll down, and I can see if it's going to rain in the next hour. So this is all under Today here. And if you want to go back to your notifications, you just click on Notifications. Now we're looking at Notifications. Go back to Today, and now we're looking at Today. Let's turn this off. I'm going to turn my Do Not Disturb off. And let's take a look at Edit. Am I allowed to edit there? Nope. Anyway. Apparently I don't have any programs that take advantage of it. So that's the new Today function in Yosemite, something that I use quite a bit. Spotlight. They completely changed how Spotlight works. When I command space, it used to come up underneath the magnifying glass in the upper right-hand corner. Now, command space, it shows up in the center of the screen. People familiar with Launch Bar, or there's another one out there, are probably familiar with the way that this looks or works. So now all I have to do is type in what I want, and it's going to show up. So in my tutorial, I talk about Windmill Island. I live in Holland, Michigan. Nice little Dutch community, and we have an old windmill that they actually took from the Netherlands, put it on a little island here in our lake. I believe it's the last windmill that was able to come out of the Netherlands. So if I search for Windmill Island here, now this is Spotlight. First thing it does is it shows me a text message from my sister. Maybe she's over at Windmill Island. So it's searching my computer for anything with Windmill Island. But also what we have here is maps. So in addition to searching my computer, it's also searching the internet. So they've really expanded on how Spotlight works. So if I click on this, there it is. If I want directions, I can get directions. I also have the website here, and I have the address as well as the phone number. All done through Spotlight. So like I said, in addition,
We have a question, Dan.
yes.
Dan, for those of us who use Launch Bar, is there any advantage to using Spotlight, the new Spotlight, instead of Launch Bar?
You know, that's a good question. I was using LaunchBar. Actually, I was using Alfred
Yeah.
before this. I can tell you that LaunchBar and Alfred is a competitor, they're faster. Spotlight is not the fastest in the world, but it seems to be working good. I switched back to Spotlight after using Alfred because I needed to learn how to use it. And it's definitely a delay.
For what?
But Alfred and LaunchBar have a lot of extensions, so they might be more powerful than what Spotlight is.
For what it's
So
worth.
I would say I wouldn't go away. I would, if you're familiar with LaunchBar, I think you'll be more than, and LaunchBar will keep up with it. That's a pretty active company. They've been around for a long time. And I think that they'll keep up with it and make sure that they're competitive with Spotlight.
So, we haven't,
I don't know.
Dan, wait a second. Dan, we have another question. Same gentleman, another question.
Dan,
Okay.
Dan, for what it's worth, I use both. I isolate Spotlight to give me files on my computer and take all the other options off. And so that becomes very fast that way, and then still use, for a more global kind of thing, use LaunchBar.
That's a good. I was wondering about that. And in the back of my head, I was thinking, I wonder if Spotlight is going to be faster searching your computer. LaunchBar for the other. So yeah, you could use them. That's a good suggestion. Mm-hmm. With LaunchBar and Spotlight, my favorite thing, this is not new to Yosemite at all. My favorite thing is this is how I launch apps. If I wanted to launch my Reminders app, I type in Reminders, and it pulls up the Reminders app. All I have to do is hit return. It's probably my favorite tip, and it's something that Spotlight used to, it's been able to do for a while, but before Spotlight was there, I used like LaunchBar and other apps, Quicksilver, to do the same thing. And once you get used to it, it is so nice. If I wanted to open up Photoshop, Command Space, there's Photoshop. All I have to do is hit return and it launches. One of my favorite tips. Now, if I didn't want to open up Photoshop, you're going to see that it shows the different apps that have photo in it. And all I have to do is just use the arrow and I can scroll down to the one that I want to use. LaunchBar and Alfred actually probably do a little bit better job at this. They kind of monitor what you open most often, and they will put that up towards the top, which is nice. But either way, it's a great way to open up applications. Another way to open up documents as well. Now, when you're dealing with Spotlight, if I go to my system preferences, and we go over to Spotlight here, this is where our Spotlight preferences are. What we can do, and this is what the gentleman was talking about, we can go and turn off certain things to launch. So if I wanted to use LaunchBar for everything else and then Spotlight to search my documents, I would turn off applications. I would turn off Spotlight suggestions. Basically turn everything off here except for documents. And then I would use LaunchBar to search my applications and things like that. This is where you set up the settings. The other thing we can do is we can go and rearrange these. I have applications up at the top, so when I search for something, applications are always going to show at the top because I like to use it in that way. If I wanted to have my documents be at the top, all I have to do is just take documents here and drag it up and put it up towards the top, and then documents will be at the top of my search results. Another thing that I use Spotlight for, and this is not new to Yosemite, although they did bring it to the center of the screen, is I use it for calculations. And I do this all the time. I have my computer and I just need a quick calculation. I don't want to have to go and open up calculator, although I could just command space and type in calculator. But another thing I can do is I can just go command space and then just type what I want. So if I need to know what 500 divided by 32 is, I type in 500 divided by 32. And there's my result. If I wanted to open up the calculator at this point, I just hit the space bar and the calculator opens up. Rarely do I do that. I just command space, type in what I need, and it gives me the answer right there. Again, not necessarily new to Yosemite, but it is nice that it is at the center of your screen as opposed to the upper right-hand corner. I'm a big fan of what they did with Spotlight, but by no means does that take away from using Launchbar. Launchbar does the same thing, and Alfred does the same thing. You could start out with Spotlight, see how you like it, and if you like it, you can go and download a Launchbar and see if you like that, but they do have more features to them. AirDrop. With AirDrop, they made it a little bit easier. If you're not familiar with AirDrop, what I can do is I can easily transfer documents to another device that uses AirDrop. And with Mavericks and prior, you had to have two things to make this thing work. You had to have another computer. It didn't work with your iPhone. It didn't work with your iPad. And the other thing you had to do is you had to actually click on AirDrop. This is what turned AirDrop on. So I had to go to my iMac, click on AirDrop, and then I had to click on AirDrop here. Let's go ahead and click on it. And then I would see my iMac here when I click on it, and I can go and drop any files to it. Well, with Yosemite, they made it a lot easier. First thing they did is I don't have AirDrop clicked. I don't have this folder clicked on my iMac. Why isn't it showing up? I'm going to click on it. Don't see what you're looking for. My iMac is a little bit older. It's 2011. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to search for an older Mac. Searching for older Macs. And then my iMac, we turned it off. Sorry. My iMac is turned off. And eventually what my iMac would do is it would show up here. And I don't have to have AirDrop on. And all I have to do is just drag a file over there, and it'll copy it over to my iMac. Like I said before, what you used to have to do is click on the AirDrop folder on my iMac, and then click on the AirDrop folder here, and they would show up, and you drag. Now I just have to go and just drop it on there. So they made AirDrop a little bit easier. The other thing you can do now is AirDrop to your iPhone or your iPad, and vice versa. You can AirDrop from your iPhone or your iPad to your Mac. So I'm going to go and open up my phone here. And once I open it up, go ahead and cancel this too. Once I open it up, it should. There it is. Now what I can do is I can drag a photo or a document over to my iPhone just by dragging it on top here. Makes it a lot easier to transfer documents or photos back and forth between your phone or your iPad and your computer. I have the same option on my iPhone. I'm actually going to see if this works here. I'm going to hook up my iPhone to my computer so you can see it. Give me a minute here. This should work. Something new that they added. Go to QuickTime here. iPhoto. And now if I go new screen recording, I should be able to see my iPhone here. And then you can see how this works on an iPhone or an iPad. Works the same way. So looking for my iPhone, I believe. This is how I can record to my from my iPhone to the computer now. Should work. Movie recording, maybe that's it. And Dan's iPhone 6. iPhoto library. There we go. All right, so you're looking at my iPhone here, and let's say I wanted, this is a video, I went golfing the other day. We had actually a 70 degree weather day here on Monday, so I had to go out golfing with a friend of mine. And saw this flag here, and I recorded it in slow motion. Should slow down here. Try it again here. But anyway, if I wanted to share this, what I do is I go down to the bottom here, and you can see we have the share. This is how we normally share things. And then what we have is if we scroll, oh, oops, trying to control my phone with my computer. You can see that we have AirDrop here. And all I have to do is tap on Dan's MacBook Pro, and now it's transferring that video over to my computer. And it's all done through AirDrop.
And where will it drop it?
You can see the circle going on there.
Question was, where will it drop it?
Drops it into your downloads folder. If I go down to my downloads folder here, there it is. And it drops it into your downloads.
Dan, we're out of time.
All right.
Well, thank
Any
you.
last question?
Wait a minute. Any more last question? Thank you very much. Thanks a million, Dan.
Yep. I'm going to extend that thing through the middle of November.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Take
All right.
care. Bye-bye.
Thanks.